I'd like to thank Cork Environmental Forum for asking me to come and speak today. I suppose before I came, I was talking to my parents, and I was telling my mother that I was asked to speak at this forum, and the joy that her son could come and speak at a forum like this, until I told her it was about septic tanks. And she said to me, "Oh no, Tim, you can't do that. Please don't stand up. There'll be hundreds of people there and you'll be lynched." And I said, "No, man, it's okay. It's just more of an information." She says, "No, Tim, don't do it. The healy rays and the metal grass, they're going to get you." But for the last number of years, could we grab the PowerPoint, please? Right. For the last number of years, primarily my business has been directly involved in site assessments, conducting percolation tests on greenfield sites. And what over the last number of years, in particular in counties like Kerry and Limerick, the standard is extremely strict. If I go to a greenfield site, I run a percolation test, and if there is no soakage in that site, there is no way you'll have planning on that site. The problem with that is when you come to a homeowner who's paid, or a potential homeowner who's paid a couple of quid for a site, and you tell them there's no soakage on this site, you will not be on the Christmas list. The other thing as well is homeowners will do anything humanly possible to get planning on that site. And if you tell them there is no soakage, they just cannot understand why. They'll basically sell their firstborn child to get soakage on that piece of land. And they will do anything humanly possible. They will propose anything. You will tell them you will get in the system, it will cost 40,000, 50,000. They will say, "Yes, we will get the money." And when it comes to going into the ground, they don't have the money. You come to other counties like Cork, and Cork is a little bit lax. They are definitely not at the races in relation to the site assessment inspections that Cork, or that Kerry, Limerick, Clare and Wexford are. What I'm going to just roughly talk about here, and this is my own experience from talking to other lads on the website and the website site assessor. We'll just hit F5 there, Bernie. F5 and yeah. So from a site assessment point of view, in the last, again going back in the last few years, what I've been doing is the greenfield sites are as good as gone. I've been called out where there is a homeowner is trying to sell a house or someone's trying to buy a house, and the engineers that have gone out to do an inspection on the foundations and such have noticed that there's been a problem with the septic tank or with the wastewater treatment unit. And by problem, often they highlight that it's non-compliant with current regulations. And that's fair enough, because you might have a house that's 70 years old, and of course it's not going to comply with current regulations, but the engineers don't want to sign off on the house. They'll say, bring someone in, ask them to run a quick assessment and see and check the state of the existing system. So in particular, out in Ballinhassig, my friend's mother rang me up and said, "Will you please come out and check the system?" The sale of the house after falling through twice. I went out, and in fairness, she had a septic tank and she had a pump inside it, and it was just pumping straight over into the farmer's field, and had been doing that for 2 years. That was one of the worst case scenarios I've ever seen, and I said, "Look, we will have to fix it, we'll have to apply for planning permission, we'll have to upgrade it." And it took her the bones of 2 years from her original fall through of an offer to upgrade the septic tank, and on the third time the sale went through, again the engineer highlighted it, and that's when the planning permission, we brought everything through the system. And the difference between, and granted we're in different economic times, the difference between the offer the first time and what she sold her house for was 150,000 euros less. The upgrade works for that instance cost in the region of 11,500 euros. But to be fair, if she hadn't been my mother's or my friend's mother, and I hadn't gotten involved, and money was tight, she needs to be looking at 15,000 euros for that upgrade of installation. The figures that are thrown about on the radio of 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, 4,000, the problem is people will always look at the higher end of the upgrade works, but it will cost that in some instances. If you do not have soakage in your site for the existing house and you want to fix it, then the local authorities' hands in many instances are tied. There is calculations that we will use, and we will end up with a size or a perimeter. In houses, existing houses that are out there, It is my belief, and I know that Michael Madden, who will be coming up afterwards, there are alternative solutions for sites. We don't have to stick within the guidelines of a code of practice. That's the manual that we will use. Another interesting thing from my point of view is the cabin model. Everyone says, what happened in cabin? And they just throw it out that cabin is excellent and everything is under control in cabin. Couldn't be further from the truth. All you have to do is ring up and ask the site assessor up there what actually happened in cabin. And during the week I've taught, and during the last couple of months, what happened in cabin is very simple. The push on for the bylaw in 2004 came because cabin's waterways, they had huge amount of fishing, so they wanted tourists come in, and there was a deterioration in their water quality. So they highlighted an issue of septic tanks in certain areas, risk-based, and they said, okay, we will implement the bylaw, and that bylaw, when that bylaw is implemented, we want every system from 2004 to the end of 2005, there's 11,500 systems, we want every system registered and inspected. Up until today, there's only 3,500 systems have been inspected. And nationally, that only equates to 0.7% of systems that have been inspected. So when everyone says, oh, cabin are ahead of us, or cabin are leading the way, fair enough, they might be. But what was involved in the cabin inspection?